Good morning. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chum Chan. Just as live recorded. We're going to go over some Bitcoin manipulation today, as well as the market is actually recovering from yesterday. Quite bit of a downturn, rather. And yeah, honey is actually doing quite well. If you guys have seen that, it is over 30 cents. Absolutely crazy. Let's see who's in the chat, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Steven Cicero, good to see you. We have Neomorphous, Influx Mining, Nick K, good morning. Backwards Miner, Mr. Geek of all trades.
It's a fucking guy.
There he is. I know you love that soundbite. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Mr. Black Cat Crypto, Rob Mines, good morning. Tim I Am Crypto, Steven Cicero. Let's see. I Need Money. I love that name. That is the best YouTube name ever. We have, let's see, David and Anthony. Good to see you, buddy. All right. MC Crypto, congrats on the winning 50 Kaspa yesterday, actually. All right, let's get into this. See how the market's doing today, and we'll go from there. All right, we have Bitcoin looking like 41,878, down 1%. We have Ethereum 2,222. That's crazy. Never seen all twos. That's neat though. At least it's still holding over 2,200 bucks. That's good. We have Kaspa down here at 12 cents, just about. It went down to, did it go down to 11 yesterday? Actually, I can't remember. It was pretty low yesterday though, but whatever. I mean, it's still pretty bullish for Kaspa, at least in my opinion. Solana is over 70 bucks. We have ADA at 59 cents. AVAX 39 bucks. Let's see what else we got. Dogecoin just under 10 cents. It's 9.5 right now. Let's see anything else that pops out at me. Let's see. Atom, $11. It's at 16, or it's up 16.56%. Let's check out Crypto Bubbles, see what we got. The biggest earner on the week. Which one is it? BTT. This BitTorrent, 172%. I don't even know what that is. Way under a penny, but it's up a lot. It's up a lot. Kaspa is down 12.2% on the week. We have Bonk up 106%. This is that Solana meme coin, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, add me in the chat if you need anything. Rob Mines, good morning. Good morning. Let's see. We have AVAX up 80.8%. Let's check out on the day real quick. Looks like, is this KuCoin? Yeah, KuCoin token, 31.5%, $13.42. If anybody's holding that. We have TIA, which is Celestia, $12.38, up 23.8. Everything else is pretty much just normal, right? It's, I mean, yeah, it's Atom's up a bit, 17.2%. This is the Cosmos, $11.66, but everything is really just kind of floating along after yesterday. It's, I mean, everything is bound to bounce, right? We have 47 for ranking on Render here, $4.05. Geez, Render's actually doing really well. $4.05. That's really good. Damn, that's crazy. To think I was buying it at like $1.50 too. That's nuts. I wish I held it. But what are you gonna do? All right, Fear and Greed Index. Let's see what we got. 67. Look at this needle move. This thing moved quite a bit. It was in the 70s, so we're looking at 67 now. Again, not too bad. Not too bad. It's not really greedy at all, to be honest. This is neutral to me. Absolutely neutral. All right, top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, Solana, USDC, Cardano, Lido Staked, Ether, and Avalanche. Avalanche took over Dogecoin for the 10th spot. Look at that. I haven't seen Doge out of 10th spot in, I don't even know. It's been like months. It's been months. Am I wrong? That's crazy. Holy hell. Let's see. Where's Shiba? Shiba's in 18th. We have Litecoin in 19th. Bitcoin Cash in 22nd. Kaspa is still in 29th, top 30. It's at a 2.6 or 2.7 basically $1 billion market cap. Ethereum Classics in 28th, just under $3 billion. Monero still over $3 billion. So not too bad. Not too bad. Man, that's crazy. I still can't believe Dogecoin got kicked out of 10th spot. That's nuts. All right, let's get into the mining stuff. Let's start talking about some tokens that have been going absolutely nuts. Have you guys seen Honey Token? Anybody that has a Hivemapper? Holy shit. This is crazy. Like, look at this.
Perfect.
35 cents. 35 cents. How does that even happen? How does that even happen? That's crazy. Just look at this. Look at this tear this thing's been on. Look at this. It's not a straight boner candle, but it's pretty close. Dude, this thing, like, this thing is straight up. This is a month, 30 days. It has went from November 20th, from 20 cents, or November 21st, right? I guess 22nd was liftoff day. 20 cents. And now it is up. Actually, wait, hold on. 2 cents. Why was it? I said 20 cents. 2 cents. It was 2 cents. And now it's up to 35. What is happening? They need to pay me out ASAP so I could sell all those coins, because right now that's crazy. If you guys aren't taking profits, I don't know what you're doing with your life, to be honest. Please take profits. Don't be moon boys. It's not, or girls. It's not not worth it. That's a tremendous gain from anybody that's been holding it. Let's check out ETC POW real quick. ETC POW was up to $2 again. It went down to $1.70 yesterday or something. Right here. This. I was very upset yesterday. I was like, man, this went to $1.54, and you know why? It's because I got my payout. That's why. It's my luck. That's what happens. But ETC POW is doing pretty well. It's back over $2. So shout out to ETC POW team. Then we got let's see what else. Give me another token. Does anybody else have anything you want to look into before we move on to ASICS? Actually, you know, let's just look at, I mean, we know, actually, Karlsen. That's what it was. Duh. Karlsen. This thing's been losing steam. A lot of steam. 7 cents. And I apologize because I definitely contributed to this with that video I made. Going straight to unMineable. The sell pressure is real. I'm not going to say it was all me, but something's going on. I don't know why people are losing steam in it or didn't like it. I don't know what's going on, but maybe they just saw the opportunity to auto convert it from up here into like Kaspa, say, and you get 2 times the coin for it. You know, it makes sense. I don't know. Weird. Render. You want to look at render again, Mr. Chris GTR? Let's check out render. It's our NDR. Dyslexia hits hard this morning. $4.06. It's crazy. Up 7.4% to the 30-day. So 30 days, November 15th, it was man, it was under 250. Crazy. Up over $4 now. That's crazy. Damn. Render's doing good. This is going to be one of them big coins, man. Gonna be one of them big coins. All right, let's move on to the, again, this is still ASIC mining stuff, but I want to go through these machines quick. We have the WindMiner K9, still top of the charts, $144 a day. This is a 10.3 terahash Kaspa miner. We have the KS3 from Ice River, looking at about $110 a day. This is the 8 terahash unit. We have the KS3 M6 terahashes at $80 a day. KS2 2 terahashes at $26 a day. The KS1 1 terahash is making $13 a day. Again, this is at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And then we have the Ice River KS0 Pros. I actually just got mining yesterday. I'm going to drop a video in a little while. Actually, just going to do a thumbnail and stuff. But I got all 9 of my KS0s up and running on one server PSU. And it's working fantastic. 867 watts. So it's actually pretty good. It's doing really well. But yeah, I'll do a video in a little bit. I'll drop that right after this. The original KS0 is only 100 gigahashes, looking at $1.32 a day. So these are getting worse and worse as the days go on. But again, the catalyst here is the price of the actual coin. Mr. Geek of All Trades said, moving from Radiant to mine Dynex today for 1 day. First time mining it ever. Really? You've never mined Dynex? What have you been doing with your life, bro? What do you mean? What do you mean? What is Dynex looking like, actually? Let me see. I haven't looked at Dynex in a bit, actually. To be honest, I don't hold any Dynex. I kind of wish I did, because I do like their project. But I don't know. I just haven't had, all my machines were off. Now they're all back on again. So we'll see. Maybe I will do some of this. But 88 cents, looking like it's down 2.4%. Let's see. Let's go to 30-day. See where it was at. So 30-day, it was, wow, it got up to $1.36. Holy hell. I didn't know it went that high. That's crazy. And now it's down to 80 something. I mean, this was probably, actually, this was right after we did that video. I did that video with them on November 7th. Sorry, 17th on the, what's it called? The proof of useful work stuff. That's crazy. So it shot up right after that. And I thought I didn't have any influence. That's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, that's nuts. That's nuts. This is literally when they announced the proof of useful work stuff. And then, yeah, it's just taking a shit since. It's kind of crazy. But is what it is. All right, guys, let's get into this. Actually, you know what? Let's look over here real quick. Just go to the GPUs. I just want to see what the top coins are over here. This is hashrate.no, if anybody doesn't know. This site's actually fantastic, by the way. But I think, I forget what it is. I think it's the wattage draws or something are not correct. They take them from the software, not from the actual machines. I mean, I get it, but is what it is. All right, looks like we're getting Nexa on the top. Karlsen's up here. Aletheium's up here. I'm not saying it like Max did yesterday, because that was the most awkward thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if Max is here, but he was trying to say, like, I don't even know how he was saying it. I'm not even going to try. All right, we have, what is this? Is this Conflux? TFX? What's TFX? Yeah, it is Conflux. I don't know why that logo looks weird to me. Xano, we have on the top of the charts for some coins. Neoxa for the 170HX. Interesting. Interesting. This Novo has been on the top of the charts, the 6900 XT, forever, which is kind of, it's weird. It's weird that's like the only card that it's on the top for. What is this one? What is this one? Cortex? Cortex. Interesting. I'm just trying to like go through and see what all top coins are. I mean, at least it's not filtered or fluttered with like, you know, just one coin. That could be worse, you know. Everything was Karlsen the other day. Like everything on this list was Karlsen, but now everything's back down to earth. All right, let's get into the news stuff, guys. Appreciate you all for watching, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get into it. This is CNBC television. Bitcoin falls as much as 7%. This was late yesterday. Obviously, we watched it the next day. So let's see what the news was and go from there. Hit me up if you guys have any questions. At me in the chat.
Today, Bitcoin sinks sharply as investors take profits from an early December rally. Stablecoin issuer Tether tightens its rules around sanctioned crypto wallets, and Anthony Pompliano of Pomp Investments explains why he believes Bitcoin's bull run has just begun.
If you guys aren't subbed to Anthony Pomp, go check him out. He's got a good channel.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Crypto prices in the red to start the week, with Bitcoin dropping more than 4.5% to around $41,780 as of noon Eastern. Bitcoin hit the $41,000 level about 1 week after the cryptocurrency hit a new high for the year of more than $44,000. Ether dropped around 5.5%, but still traded above $2,200, and Solana fell nearly 4%. All right, let's talk a bit more about what's driving the sell-off in the crypto market. Bitcoin dipped as low as 40K over the weekend as investors look to take profits from the sharp run-up we've seen in recent weeks.
And you know what? There was we're gonna see it in a little bit, but my man Crypto Zombie has a great video, and he talks about people that knew about news before it actually comes out, which is quite interesting.
The drawdown forced $120 million
kind of like insider trading stuff
in long liquidations for Bitcoin and $80 million in liquidations for Ether, as pointed out by Crypto World's Tanay Makil on CNBC.com. These latest declines come after a 12% rally for Bitcoin to kick off December, and those gains, of course, largely stemmed from hype around potential approval of spot ETFs. Galaxy Digital says those ETFs could reach a $14 trillion addressable market in their first year. Now, that upswing may have started with Bitcoin, but as crypto rallies often do, investors quickly branched out to other major altcoins and drove prices higher. Prices might be coming back down today, but experts aren't sure this pullback will last. Wolf Research's Rob Ginsburg says Bitcoin remains red hot and is trading at a pace not seen since 2021. Upcoming catalysts are, of course, the ETFs, as I mentioned, but also a few others we'll talk about in our main story in just a moment. You can get even more insight on today's sell-off by going to cnbc.com/cryptoworld. All right, here's some other stories you should know about. Customers are pulling hundreds of millions of dollars from crypto exchange HTX following a hack. That exchange, formerly known as Wobi, suffered a $30 million hack back on November 22nd, and data from DeFi Llama shows more than $250 million has been pulled from the exchange since it resumed operations back on November 25th. Now, in the wake of that hack, HTX advisor Justin Sun posted on X that all funds on the crypto exchange were secure. Next, stablecoin issuer Tether has stepped up its policies to combat sanctions violations. In a weekend blog post, the company said it was starting a new voluntary wallet freezing policy for activity connected with sanctioned persons on the OFAC specifically designated nationals list. Tether CEO Paolo Arduino said the move would strengthen the positive usage of stablecoin technology and make a safer stablecoin ecosystem. CoinDesk reported that on-chain data showed around 40 wallets had been frozen as part of the new policy. Back in October, the Wall Street Journal reported that Tether was allegedly used by Hamas, North Korea, and sanctioned Russians. All right, back to prices for our main story. Crypto World's Talia Kaplan sat down with Pomp Investments founder Anthony Pompliano last week about what's been fueling Bitcoin's rise to new highs for the year and what we can expect from crypto in 2024.
For months, we saw Bitcoin trade in a tight range, unable to surpass the $32,000 level. And now we're seeing Bitcoin hit fresh highs for the year, surpassing $44,000. So what's changed?
Well, obviously price goes up because there's more buyers and sellers in the market. And so the question becomes, why are people buying Bitcoin? And I think that it's a confluence of things. First of all, there's speculation around the Bitcoin ETF. As we get closer and closer to these kind of early January dates, I think people are just saying, look, there's higher probability that it's going to get approved. And if it gets approved, they believe the price is going to go up. So they want to own it before the approval. And, pretty self-explanatory. Then if you go and you look at things in the macro environment, markets are forward looking. And so what people are anticipating is someone may say to themselves, okay, if we've had this kind of quantitative tightening, we've had interest rates rise at the fastest rate in history, we've been selling off assets off of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, that's going to change at some point, right? If they continue to keep the economy tight, they're going to push us into a recession. And so when there is a return to quantitative easing, the thought process is that many assets, including Bitcoin, will rise very rapidly. And so you don't wait for them to return to loose monetary policy and then buy the assets. You want to buy it right before they return. And if you go and you look, Bill Ackman has this bet that he thinks interest rates are going to cut in Q1. The market is pricing in 100% probability of an interest rate cut by the end of Q2. I think there's a lot of folks who just say, look, I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to go ahead and start buying now. And so that's providing some pressure. There's a third thing that I think is pretty interesting. I recently was talking to somebody over at CoinFund, David Pacman, who leads their investment team. And he showed me a chart that essentially there's been 3 major crypto exchange CEOs who have left or quit or been fired from their role. We've had Arthur Hayes, we have Sam Bankman-Fried, and then we have CZ. After every single one of those,
I'm gonna be honest, I think CZ was the most shocking for me.
The market rallied pretty aggressively very shortly after. And the thought process being that whether it is perceived risk or actual risk, the market enjoys certainty. And so whenever there is some degree of certainty that's brought into the market, then people will allocate capital and obviously the price will go up. And so regardless of kind of what the actual reason for the price going up, I don't think you can point at one thing, but what we do see is that capital is flowing into the market. When you add in the fact that 70% of all Bitcoin circulation hasn't moved in a year, illiquid market, capital flowing in, price has to go up to accommodate everyone. And I think that it's only getting started right now.
So do you think the positive momentum will continue into 2024? Do you think we'll continue to see this rally?
Yeah, I mean, my message right now and why I've been doing so much media is just to explain to people, look, Bitcoin's bull market has begun. And when you look at these market cycles, historically, they've been kind of 4-year market cycles in between these Bitcoin halvings. And so usually what will end up happening is you'll get about 2.5 to 3 years from the bottom of the last bear market to the top of the next bull market. And then you'll get about a year, year and a half market correction. And so historically, that has been hundreds of percent up, and then you get about an 80% drawdown. Now, the next bull market and bear market, I don't know if it's hundreds of percent or tens of percent. I don't know if the drawdown is 30% or 80%, but definitely
We know it's going to be effing crazy.
it is a very strong indicator that we now have bottomed out of the last bear market. The bull market has begun. And the question now on everyone's mind is, how high will Bitcoin go in this bull market?
Speaking of the halving, Bernstein recently put out a report saying that it expects Bitcoin miners will outperform the broader market going forward, thanks in large part to the Bitcoin halving. Do you see that happening?
Well, right now, if we just look at 2023, so year to date, the S&P is up about 19%. The leading miners are all up somewhere between 250 and 300%. And so if you look at Bitcoin's performance, Bitcoin's up about 150 to 160% depending on the day. And so the miners are outperforming in many cases, sometimes as much as 2x Bitcoin's price. And so you got to ask yourself, well, why is that happening? And we've seen this debate before. The gold community has long debated, should you buy spot gold or physical gold, or should you be buying these cash flowing gold mining businesses? Now, they have different risk reward profiles, but what we're seeing when it comes to Bitcoin miners is in 2023, they have been the better asset to have allocated to. Now, the question becomes, will that remain over a long period of time? The beauty of the Bitcoin community is many people are not speculating in the short term. They simply want a simple asset that they can dollar cost average into over time and hold it for years, if not decades. That's much easier to do with a commodity like Bitcoin than it is with a cash flowing business that has a management team. They've got to navigate different market cycles. They've got to manage debt, etc. And so it all comes down to what the risk return profile you're looking for is. But so far, the miners are outperforming.
Data from S3 Partners shows that short sellers lost more than $6 billion in crypto-related bets, with half of
Real
those.
quick, you guys, you got to realize too that BlackRock understands that mining is where it's at. That's why they've invested into 4 out of the top 5 largest mining facilities like ever, right? Every one of them except for Hut 8 out of the top 5.
Losses coming from Coinbase shorts. What does that signal to you?
shorting a market that can go asymmetric very quickly is usually not a good idea. And if you look at short selling generally across the market, right, in traditional finance, there's short sellers that have been doing this for a very long time. They're either shutting down their firms, they're returning capital, or you have a lot of long short funds that are saying, look, we're just not going to short individual names anymore. There's just too much unpredictability, too much chaos. And so it just doesn't make sense from a risk reward standpoint. Well, that is all put on steroids in the crypto market, right? If you're not willing to short, let's say, an S&P 500 company, what are you doing shorting a company that can go up hundreds of percent? Coinbase specifically is up like 330 or 340% year to date. So if you're willing to short something that can go up 300, 400% in a given year, then you really better make sure you're right. And so what we've historically seen is just humans are really bad at market timing. And being long and something going down, at least you have the ability to kind of hold it for long enough for the market to come back. If you're
Unless you're trading on leverage, and then you're just effed, because there was a lot of longs liquidated actually on the last drop yesterday.
Short and it goes against you, you can lose a lot of money very quickly. And I think what you're ultimately seeing is not just in crypto, but across the market of finance, many people are just saying, look, shorting is not worth it. And I think crypto is kind of the cherry on top, that they're just blowing out these shorts and saying, look, understand what the fundamentals are, get long, and just be passive. And that's probably going to be a better strategy.
Jim C in the chat actually just said buying into mining facilities is making, hold on. He's more or less saying it's like buying a national mint. He said, seriously, mining's where it's at. And that's pretty much what BlackRock's doing. They want to be able to make their own virgin Bitcoin. That's really the whole goal behind it.
Speaking on Capitol Hill, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon said that if he was in the government, he would shut down crypto. What was your reaction to that?
Jamie Dimon is probably one of the best bank CEOs in history. He's built an amazing business. I don't think anyone who understands, kind of banking and finance can look at it and say that Jamie Dimon.
If anybody missed this whole Jamie Dimon thing with him saying that it should be shut down in the Senate meeting, I guess they had the other day, just go back and watch yesterday's video. Crypto Zombie actually played it. It was a clip from back in the day when Jamie Dimon was telling anybody that he caught buying Bitcoin in his company, he would fire. And then literally weeks later, they were friggin' buying it all up. Dude, that guy is so twisted, it's not even funny.
It doesn't know what he's talking about. On this specific topic, though, I think that there is a little bit of what is being said. And then if you look at the actions of the bank, there's different actions, right?
That's what he's talking about.
One, when you're in these hearings, obviously you're speaking to a certain audience. And when you're speaking to politicians, when you're speaking in front of the national media, there are expectations of the leadership of large financial organizations or large banks. And I think Jamie was probably addressing some of the questions from that perspective.
He hit the nail on the head right there, saying more or less he's trying to say that Jamie Dimon is he's got to make himself look good to the financial institutions. And on top of that, he's basically saying do as I say, not as I do. And in the background, he's stacking up on Bitcoin because that's where things are going to go.
The bank has a blockchain team. They have hundreds of people that are working there. They forever have been building out things like stable coins, et cetera. On top of that, I think that there is kind of a tale of two tapes because you also have large financial organizations like BlackRock, where Larry Fink is going on national television and he's saying, look, when people are buying Bitcoin, it's a flight to quality. And so really, I think you got to ask yourself, well, what's the incentive here? And if you were to ask kind of people across Wall Street, who is most likely to lose market share or lose out something if these assets and these technologies become viable, it's the banks, right? It's not the asset managers. The asset managers are pretty nimble. They're able to say, okay, I can create an ETF for stocks. I can create an ETF for Bitcoin. I just simply switch out the underlying asset and it's the same ETF wrapper. I can raise private funds and allocate capital. And so I can go ahead and adapt to change much more easily than, let's say, a bank where part of my business model is based on transaction fees or other types of kind of revenue streams that directly compete now with this new technology that appears to be much more advantageous. And so, look, you can put a lot of weight on the words that are said in these hearings, or you can put no weight on. I tend to not really pay attention to what any one person is saying in the hearings. I really just go and look at their organizations and what are the actions they're taking. And so my guess is that it was well received by the audience he was speaking to. At the same time, there's a lot of people who went to work today at JP Morgan. They're going to go work on blockchain technology. And so just understand the difference between those two things is important.
So true. It's so true.
Also
shout out.
Is in on the performance of altcoins this year. You'll be able to check out his full interview.
So apparently, if you guys want to go to CNBC.com, you can go check out the full interview with Mr. Pump, but we don't have time for that. I want to laugh with Mr. Crypto Zombie right now. So Bitcoin in trouble, coordinated attack, proof they are lying to you. Now, I guess he found a video that is it basically was taken down by Fox News the other day, leaking some stuff about Elizabeth Warren. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we're gonna get into it. So let's do it. Hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you all. Let's see. This is the funniest beginning ever, by the way.
And we're going into the halving. The daily supply of Bitcoin being mined is going to go down by half. There's new demand coming from the ETF.
Wait for it.
Fingers crossed. We're pricing 90% certainty on ETF approval. So there's a lot of different factors that I think buyers are pricing in here. But the big traders, the macro desks, they haven't started buying yet. So again, I say, baby, we are so back.
Okay, it's the heart of the pack.
That's cold. Pose on my belt and my shoe.
Yeah, start doing that. Yeah, do me a favor. Get out. To catch a varmint, you gotta be a varmint. Perfect.
Right?
Now?
Yes, right.
Are you sure?
I used to drag here back in high school, a quarter mile away from here.
现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋。
This is like the funniest beginning I've ever seen in my life.
Let's take a look at it, though, because it is beautiful. The way you did it was absolutely perfect. Oh, no. Who's going to get tired first? Oh, my goodness. Huge
Steal Floyd Mayweather's hat.
It's all on the line here. Oh, wait a minute, Jerry. Oh, my God. Watch Orton. Look at Orton. Come fight me, because somebody's going to get hurt tonight. Wait a minute. My God. Get back. Aggressively.
That's so true too. So true.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie.
Dude, shout out to Crypto Zombie for the best beginning intro I've ever seen in my life. I was laughing so hard this morning when I watched that.
Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, if you have a look at the chart, we actually had this insane wick, specifically over on Apex, that came all the way down to 37,000. It got bought back up. Bitcoin was around $43,000, and as you can see, we are starting to fall right now. So why is Bitcoin actually falling? Well, there's actually a few very good reasons why Bitcoin is actually falling right now. The first is obviously just the fact that we do have some significant events, as you can see Michael pointed out. We do have CPI tomorrow, as well as FOMC on Wednesday. So those are kind of two big events that a lot of people are waiting for. But we also just have the very simple fact that Bitcoin has literally gone up non-stop for 2 straight months, which means we've had 8 green weekly candles. Now, historically, if you go and look at the charts, Bitcoin has never in its history ever put in 9 consecutive weeks of green. Literally never in its history, even during its most insane blow off top parabolic rallies ever, right? And we did know that at some point there was going to have to be a bit of a cool down period, right? Now, it's also coinciding with a lot of convenient FUD, I guess you could say, specifically coming out of Elizabeth Warren, who now has just introduced a bill which is not really banning crypto, but effectively would basically ban crypto. Now, obviously, that's not something we need to worry about immediately, but it is something that I want to talk about, right? And it does seem a little bit coordinated. Now, remember in my previous video, I said you shouldn't just take the things that these people are saying for face value. For example, what Gary Gensler at the SEC is saying, or what Elizabeth Warren is saying, because I'm going to show you some stuff right now. There has been some insane censorship recently, especially with the mainstream media when it comes to cryptocurrency, and it does seem like recently this negative narrative has been pushed. But I am going to dig beneath the layers, and I'm going to show you a few things that they're not talking about right now. And remember, don't follow them blindly. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon saying, he'll fire anyone caught trading crypto, and at the same time he's buying Bitcoin in the background. Well, we have something
that was back in 2021, I believe,
going on right now today, and I'm going to show that to you. Also, just friendly reminder, if you have a look historically, we do have these major corrections, right? We've seen Bitcoin have 36%, 62%. No, I don't think we're going to have a 62% pullback, but just for example, for a lot of people that are new, this was one of the craziest parabolic runs we'd ever seen for Bitcoin. This was the 2017 run, and you can see we've had multiple corrections throughout these areas. And here's an example right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green candles, and then we had a correction, right? Which is why I'm saying right now
you have to have corrections, or it's not going to be a healthy growth. You know what I mean? Like, things can't just continue to go up without any correction.
Be a little cautious, but again, look, 40%, 25%, 36%, 36%, 32%, 38%, 38%, 31%, right? So it's very common to see these types of corrections. I wouldn't be freaking out necessarily. I do want to go over a few price targets specifically in the video, but talking about this massive censorship, I think that once you see this shocking sort of data revealed, once again, you realize, don't listen to these people. It's obviously being coordinated. And the other thing I wanted to discuss is the fact that a lot of people have been attributing this Bitcoin price action to the ETF. And while I do believe that that is a large component as to why we're seeing the price appreciate so much, there's actually a much bigger picture that I think a lot of people are overlooking. So we're going to go over that today. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. And of course, guys, I just want to remind you that, the MetaSignals NFT.
Get off this NFT stuff. I'm going to jump forward. Maybe not. Let me see. Right there.
Until they open it publicly next year. So you can either get early access right now, have those signals all throughout, now in January, or unfortunately you'll just
I do have a link to this full video in the description below if anybody's interested. Go check out Crypto Zombie. His videos are great.
So let's start with the negative. Let's start with this bill. So Senator Elizabeth Warren has introduced a bill to crack down on the Bitcoin and crypto industry and bring it into, quote, greater compliance. Now, without going into everything in this bill, basically you could see that the bill calls for dramatically expanding the Bank Secrecy Act to cover open source software, including non-custodial wallets, miners, and validating nodes. It would be impossible for miners or validators to perform KYC on every public blockchain transaction. Indeed, it can't even be said that these entities even have a possibility of a customer to know. So you understand what she's essentially trying to do? She's not banning crypto. We already know they said they're not going to ban crypto, but if you make it so unbelievably difficult to transact with, that would effectively be a de facto ban without actually having to ban it. Because how are miners going to report on the customers? The miners validating the transactions have absolutely no idea who the person on the other side is doing the transaction.
Facts.
All they're doing is validating it, right? So again, these are impossible questions to be answered, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to discourage it, right? But again,
as a miner, you're just updating the ledger, basically, kind of like a bank teller, right? Somebody gives you money and you're like, they gotta put it in the computer, and it basically takes a ledger of how much money they've taken in. Bitcoin is basically just doing that in the background, but you don't never meet the people that do the transactions.
Is that what they're really trying to do? Just stick with me here, because this information is going to blow your mind. And, Mark Yusko basically broke it down. Why exactly are they doing this? Why do they, fear crypto, or why are they specifically against it? Well, I think it's quite obvious.
There are a lot of folks who still need to be convinced that this is a viable means of transaction. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, is not a big fan of it. Others aren't as well. How do you respond to that?
Well, when your livelihood depends on not understanding something, you won't. And Jamie understands it. He's a very smart person. But he and other people in the financial services industry are afraid, quite honestly. This technology, blockchain technology, will do to financial services what the internet did to media and commerce.
Sure.
It changes the landscape. You and I can now exchange value without an intermediary. For 838 years, we've needed intermediaries to exchange value. The banking system, finance system, accounting, auditing,
right?
All of those things are less valuable in the new world with new technology.
But you have to admit, if you had to pick, choose your fighter, who are you going to go with? Who are you going to go with, Elizabeth Warren or Larry Fink, who even came out and had made a recent, they sent a letter or they made a comment to the SEC about, you know, they better leave basically Bitcoin alone. Like, leave it alone. It's a commodity. Like, the ETF itself can be overseen by the SEC, but don't touch Bitcoin. And I think we all know that, well, Gary is kind of Larry's little bitch, if we're just gonna put it, you know, quite frankly, as it is to be said. But, you know, something that I have noticed is that there has been this crypto censorship. Now, this was over on CNBC, and it was a video clip I was gonna play, and you could see, I'm concerned by Jamie Dimon's views on crypto, says Sky Bridges Anthony Scaramucci. This video got taken down. Then there was another video that came out, and this just shows you the corruption of Senator Warren, where basically what she was doing was she was giving Gary Gensler the questions ahead of time and asking him if he was okay, right? So that she could effectively make it easier on Gary to answer the questions. And if you come over now and you try to click this video on Fox News, look at this. I'm trying to literally click this video. This video will not play. You could see that they're clearly trying to censor this, right? But thankfully for Twitter, I actually was able to record the video before they took it down.
All right,
so this is the proof of manipulation right here.
I'll report tonight about how Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and her office coordinated testimony with the Security and Exchange Commission ahead of a Senate hearing. The Heritage Foundation Oversight Project, of which I'm associated, through a FOIA request, obtained emails from Warren's office to the office of Chairman Gary Gensler 2 days before his Senate testimony back in September of 2021. The email from Warren's economic policy advisor includes a list of questions. Get this, a list of questions that Senator Warren planned to ask, along with suggested answers for the chairman of the SEC. The advisor also wrote, quote, "Let me know if you're okay with the questions as currently written." 2 days later, she sent a follow-up, quote, "Let me know if it's looking like the chair has any issue with the framing of the questions. Definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot," end quote. And it appears the chairman didn't have any issue with these questions.
Yeah, they're not shady at all. They're not shady at all.
Because Senator Warren asked almost verbatim from the email. Check this out.
Chair Gensler, advocates say crypto markets are all about financial inclusion. But the people who are most economically vulnerable are the ones who are most likely to have to withdraw their money the fastest when the market drops. Does this sound like the path to financial inclusion to you?
You're welcome, everybody. Yes, I do. I always worry that these things are going to happen, so I do
And yeah, his Bitcoin hat is awesome.
To record them as soon as I see them. But, you know, like John Eaton pointed out, John E. Deaton, and I want you to listen to this. Listen to what he says. Elizabeth Warren has violated her oath. As a senator sitting on the banking committee, she has violated her oath. Her job is to provide and engage in actual oversight of the SEC. Instead, she conspired with her close friend Gary Gensler, not only giving him the exact questions she would be asking before the hearing, but also the suggested answers to the same questions. That's not oversight. That's straight up just fraudulent, okay? He goes on to say, you know, coach testimony before Congress, come on. She literally said that she didn't want to place Gensler in a tough spot. Are you effing kidding me? Her job is to place the chairman of the SEC in a tough spot, asking hard-hitting or tough questions. Think about this, okay? Elizabeth Warren is 100% the single best critic of Bitcoin and crypto in the U.S. Congress. She sits on the banking committee overseeing the SEC, and yet she hasn't asked the SEC or Gensler about SBF's multiple meetings with Gensler and the SEC. She hasn't questioned why or how Gensler missed SBF's fraud, considering his up-and-close meetings. And why was Gensler meeting with SBF multiple times? He wouldn't meet with Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, despite Coinbase begging for meetings for 2 years. No, instead, Gensler was meeting with the CEO of an offshore exchange in the Bahamas, who turned out to be the Bernie Madoff of crypto in her job overseeing the SEC. Why hasn't Warren asked for those meetings? Like with Patrick McHenry. Warren preaches against crypto every chance she can, but she doesn't ask Gensler how he missed FTX or Celsius or Luna or BlockFi or Voyager or any of these other things, right? So she doesn't ask any of that. Why not? Well, she found time to kill some crypto banks that work with some crypto companies, but why not focus on the source of the problem? actual fraud.
Facts.
Is she not asking certain questions because of her own ties to SBF's parents? SBF's father, Joe Bankman, wrote Warren's tax plan in 2016.
How much you want to bet that Warren or somebody close to her in her family has crypto? And it's, yeah, I don't know. There's some shady shit going on.
We know without a doubt that he helped SBF create all those shell companies to avoid taxes. SBF's mother runs a PAC to help Democrats like Warren, get elected. So again, clearly there is some massive corruption here, and we know that she works for the banks, she's owned by the banks, right? And the thing is while all this is happening in the background, and while the SEC is clamping down, if you actually go over, this is crazy, you go to investor.gov, which the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission runs, and what is this that pops up today? A crypto assets tab. Perfect. This is crazy. So you click on this, and they actually talk about crypto. Now, of course, they're talking about,
Look at the celebrity endorsements. What the hell?
Be careful of the scams
That's
and
funny.
the celebrity endorsements and all these other things. But how crazy is it that now all of a sudden there just happens to be a page that pops?
Did you guys see Gensler? Did you see Gensler right there? He's got his own YouTube stuff. That's funny as hell. Where is it? Oh boy.
Be careful of the scams and the celebrity endorsements and all these other things.
Look at this shit. Crypto security laws. Yeah. These videos are cringe worthy.
But how crazy is it that now all of a sudden there just happens to be a page that pops up about crypto on the SEC's website? Obviously, this means something is coming. It means the ETF is probably getting approved, and they know that they have absolutely no choice. What else is interesting if we come over here? This is crazy, by the way. And this is the stuff that they're not talking about. So while all this is happening, while you have Elizabeth Warren and all this FUD, and you're seeing the crypto prices fall, maybe some people are seeing the news, of course we were literally looking for a pullback regardless, but it is funny how crypto literally starts to fall, and the next day this bill comes out. By the way, I want to know who these insiders are that are getting to trade this, because, obviously shorting the market, and then this news comes out. Obviously somebody knew it was going to happen. Once again, just more of this insider crap. But listen to this. This is insane. This is insane. The United States government recently made a significant change to the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, by eliminating two provisions intended. That's two, the number two. Two provisions intended to tackle anti-money laundering, AML, concerns within the cryptocurrency space. Did you just hear what I just said? They actually removed them. Listen to this. Among the numerous provisions removed from the NDAA, two specifically addressed the need for a comprehensive review system and reporting mechanism to combat illicit activities related to crypto. The second provision focused on addressing anonymous cryptocurrency transactions, particularly those involved in crypto mixers and tumblers. So are you understanding what this means? This basically means that while she's trying to make a bill to make it harder and make it, basically impossible to conduct crypto, in the background, you have them removing some of these things that are getting in the way of cryptocurrency, basically being able to succeed in the US. It's kind of crazy when you think about that, but no one's talking about that. You know what else no one's talking about? The fact that Google updated its crypto ad policy, permitting crypto trust ads starting late January, coinciding with expected US approval of spot.
Oh God. Oh man. All right, I'm all for crypto ads, yeah, cool, whatever, but man, if they don't get on top of their goddamn scams, because there are so many scam advertisements that pop up on just any videos you guys watch if you're into crypto, they cater them towards you. Just be careful of those Ripple ones and stuff. There's no such thing as free giveaways, all right?
Bitcoin ETFs. These trusts enable trading shares in pools of digital currencies, potentially encompassing ETFs. So does Google know something? Because now, you remember they had completely gotten rid of the crypto ads, and now they're well, if they have something to do with trusts or these, official crypto products, then that's okay. We can show advertisements. Obviously, somebody knows something. So while all this FUD is happening, who knows? Maybe they're trying to crash the price to buy cheaper, right? You know the old saying, if you miss the boat and I miss the boat, well, we missed the boat. But if the institutions miss the boat, they bring the boat back, right? That's what they say. And they're going to do everything to coordinate this FUD, to have this censorship, removing videos of Anthony Scaramucci, taking down these videos that pretty much shine Elizabeth Warren in the actual light. We see her for what she is, right? So, you know, again, if we come over here and we have a look at Meltem Demirtas, she was over on Fast Money. One of the things that a lot of people are asking is this really just being driven by the ETF? And then once it's approved, is that it? Or is there actually something more macro at play?
Is this rally about clearing through Binance and some of the mishaps, the transgressions, or is it really more about Fed policy? Look, I mean, it gets back to the existential reason for owning a lot of these digital assets. I mean, we're probably about to see the Fed step back from being aggressive. We're going to see the U.S. deficit spiral to new levels. We're going to see all those dynamics that have had people question why at some point there isn't a reason to own gold or digital gold or other things. You tell me, but my theory is this is more about stuff that's happening in macro that was always the underpinning for owning the asset class.
I think there's a few different things going on. I certainly think macro is a big factor. Risk on is a big factor right now at this current point in the market. I do think another component with Bitcoin in particular is price drives more price action. It's a very reflexive market. We've seen Q3, if we look at Square's earnings report, or Block as they're called now, I believe, they had a 2.5 billion in Bitcoin volume. That's 30 million a day of Bitcoin buying just on Cash App. So there's a lot of retail flows. At CoinShares, we track crypto ETP flows. We saw 10 consecutive weeks of inflows. For the year, we're up 1.76 billion. That's a 4% increase in global crypto exchange traded product AUM. And we're going into the halving. The daily supply of Bitcoin being mined is going to go down by half. There's new demand coming from the ETF. Fingers crossed. We're pricing 90% certainty on ETF approval. So there's a lot of different factors that I think buyers are pricing in here, but the big traders, the macro desks, they haven't started buying yet. So again, I say, baby, we are so back. And the big thing I always look for
were they buying though? In other words, is this something that was starting to happen, or is this a whole group of institutional investors that have yet to get into the asset class?
I think there's still a lot of institutional investors waiting. And for me, the big leading indicator is when retail's back, and that's when the dog coins start running.
So we are back, baby? I mean, I would say so. Now, again, do I think that Bitcoin's price is a little bit overextended? Yes, as I've been saying, we have never, ever, historically, ever seen 9 straight weeks of green. Now, of course, it's only the beginning of the week. We could have a green candle. That would be the first time that we've ever seen that in history. But, you know, like CJK says, if you sell Bitcoin at 100,000 because of ETF approvals, you don't know what's really happening here. The 401k superhighway of demand, automatic income liquidity injections, is building an exit ramp to Bitcoin. 100,000 is simply a psychological resistance, the same as $1 million. There is no fundamental or technical resistance at these levels. It could very well mark the start of Bitcoin journey from commodity value to monetary value. And that is exactly what I believe is happening. And, you know, the question is, when does the normal average people, well, like, when do they start waking up to the reality? I mean, Bitcoin is clearly not a fad. You know, you can literally, I mean, I don't know now, you know, you have the 2010s, the 2000s, but, you know, growing up, there were very definitive decades for me. You know, like the 70s, they really had a vibe, right? You think of like disco and all this other stuff. And then the 80s, right? You think of like the big hair, the bright colors. And then the 90s, you kind of got like that grungy sort of, you know, and then you get a lot of those, you know, save the planet type movements, right? Like each, you know, but you know, and I'm not saying they're fads. Nowadays, I feel like everybody does everything. But, you know, you had these fads, you know, these things that they came and they went. Bitcoin's been around for 15 plus years now, over 15 years, okay? That is not a fad, okay? A fad does not last a decade and a half. And, you know, it's funny how even, for example, over on CNBC with Andrew Ross Tarkin over here, you're still seeing these debates. I mean, this video is only 6 days old, and yet you still have, well, I'm not too sure about Bitcoin, but I think I'm starting to wake up to Bitcoin. You know, just watch this.
The biggest thing for me here, right, is the whole, like, the amount of crypto that's been pushed on CNBC television. Like, that's a major news outlet. Like, if you guys don't see that crypto is going to be literally just covered on all news stations eventually, it's kind of like the internet bubble, right? It started off slow and then it just exploded. It's going to happen again.
Clip.
If you think that the Federal Reserve and other central banks are going to have to print capital or print money in order to finance all of this debt, then you're going to want to be in something other than dollars. And therefore,
you've got to get Andrew on board. You're still not on board.
I have been.
You must be curious. Are you more skeptical?
I love this older guy. He always gives him shit for not being on board with crypto, and then Karen over here gets all upset.
beginning.
But at 25,000, you were
I was proudly early on my
There was a number you once said that if it hit, that you would think about buying it for your kids.
$5,000.
5,000.
Right. But at 25, you were really saying this is way too. Now it's 42. You gotta eventually throw in the towel. What number where you'll say I believe in it? 100?
Well, I just think it's a very, because it's such a abstract concept that it's like a non-existent thing, even though I know it's a thing for some people. I think a lot of people look at it.
He's still in the fake internet money boat. That's what he is.
Maybe. I know it's a very philosophical
but
situation.
aren't there like you can describe why gold is worth something. It's not because it's pretty, and it's not because it's used in jewelry. It's because it's immutable, it's cross-cultural, there's only so much around, and these are the characteristics of money since the beginning of time.
Everybody has gold in their
Right, correct.
No,
you go back to the
as a store of value. It's like if you understand the distributed ledger nature of Bitcoin, you can see that it can represent barter for something.
Here's one of the, and it's traceable in like every single way. You can trace back all of these transactions. That's what I don't understand why they're so against it. I mean, it's because they're taking control away from the government. That's exactly why. But
one of the crazy parts about this is a lot of people who question Bitcoin's efficacy or legitimacy, they're using a worldview that is dominant in traditional finance. Things like intrinsic value, things like efficient market hypothesis, etc.
It's a very
what we're watching though
God bless him, Charlie Munger view of the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, and by the way, you've been right for 50 years having that worldview. I think that Bitcoiners are coming into the market and they're saying, wait a second, there's a different view of the world. Something like intrinsic value. If you and I both look at an asset and I tell you the intrinsic value is X, you say it's Y. Obviously, there's no intrinsic value. It's just what our opinion is, right? Same thing with efficient market hypothesis. And I think what Bitcoin's really doing is it's showing there's this new view of the world. So far, it's been right. And if it continues to be right, there will be trillions of dollars that flow into the asset.
So unfortunately, sometimes it is that adoption. It is that price. It is, sort of just people hopping into the cool thing. I mean, it's like that, that meme where it's like, or just in general, like, have you ever gone out somewhere, say you go to like a fair and there's a vendor selling food, and one line has 20 people on it and the other line has only one person on it. And yet you keep seeing people go to the line.
Mr. Geek of all trades. You remember we were in Washington and that's how the trucks were? It was like one truck that had like 1 million people.
that has more people on it. Now let's hypothetically say they serve the exact same food. It's that psychology of missing out, right? When nobody's talking about Bitcoin, when Bitcoin is, down at these low levels, nobody wants to be a part of it. But then all of a sudden when everyone starts talking about it and the price is going up and people start buying, well, suddenly everybody gets interested again. It's human psychology, right? But you have to stay ahead of that. You have to understand.
That's exactly why Warren Buffett says buy when people are fearful and be fearful when people are greedy. Right. It's just, that's why we look at that fear and greed index. It makes sense. It really is just psychological.
And that humans are mostly wrong. The herd is mostly wrong. And you can't trust the things that you're seeing on, TV.
Humans are like buffaloes and they're being chased, right? You get to the edge of the cliff and like one goes off, the rest of them will just join. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's crazy.
Because again, you have Warren coming out saying one thing, having these sort of coordinated conversations with Gary in the background. And then at the same time, you have the SEC listing a section about crypto. You have Google adding back their ads. You also have some of these AML laws being taken away. Very, very interesting. So read between the lines and understand what's happening. So I know what you guys want to talk about today is why is Bitcoin falling and all this other stuff. Well, honestly, technically speaking, it was kind of due. Let's hop into the charts and let's have a look at what's going on right here. So remember, guys, I said that anything, we got out of this level. This was my blue zone, and this zone has been here ever since we were way, way, way down here. And I said, the higher we climb to these levels, you have about 32.8, 37.2, and then the highest level, right here, the blue zone.
If you guys don't know, Crypto Zombie is mainly a trader. That's what he does for a living. So shout out to him. I want to see what he has to say about all this.
That 40,000 level, and you could see, we're kind of coming down out of that level. Now that's why I was saying we were just a little bit overheated. I would like to retest some of these levels, and I think, and a lot of people may think this is crazy, but I think even coming down and retesting somewhere back into the bottom of the blue zone is possible.
I'm gonna be for real. I think I personally do think that we are gonna see some sort of pullback, probably down to these levels, if like about 32K or so at least. Like, think about it, right? People, at the end of the year, they're going to want a tax loss harvest for their taxes, right? And then on top of that, Christmas is only like 2 weeks away or so. It's like literally people just take money out every December. It's literally consistent. Black Friday to the beginning of the year, typically we see some sort of downtrend. That's just how it is.
Of course, I don't think we'll lose this upwards trend right here, but coming back in here, retesting somewhere around 30 to 31,000. I think that is still possible, even if this is a fake out, even if we do continue. Don't forget, we have a simple CME futures gap right down here. That gap is around 39,600. You can see we attempted to close it, but again, they tend to get closed sooner than later. So when we had formed this gap right over...
This could definitely be a buy the rumor, sell the news, though. If the ETF is actually going to be approved at the beginning of January, then, it could just be people buying up until that point, and then we might have the pullback after the first of the year. Who knows?
For the weekend of the 1st to the 4th, I said, hey, I'd rather fill this gap now than later. So again, coming down, refilling this gap just in the short term would just be healthy. Also, remember we had this parallel channel right here. Well, we've also, we had the resistances, right? These resistance right here.
And just so you know, the middle of the channel is roughly around that $32,000 mark.
Right here, we've never had a chance to even come down and retest this as support, or even retest this upwards major trend right here, right? You have 1 point of contact, 2 point of contacts, but really 3 points of contact is, generally speaking, the traditional accepted trend, right? That's usually what we consider to be a trend. So again, we haven't had any retests of that. And we also had the volume range profile. And remember, I said that once we got above 39,000, the next area of interest is 47,000. But again, it's very unlikely that you just see continuation up to those areas. Now, of course, anything can happen. The ETF can get approved tomorrow. But, coming down somewhere into this region, and again, where you could see the major area right here is right around $30,100, right? So, will we get down to that level? No. But again, following some of these simple trends, having that healthy correction, as I shown you, these 30% are, corrections are possible. Another thing that I'm looking at are these simple moving averages. And you have right here the 21 exponential on the...
By the way, this is Market Cipher down here. I actually have this indicator. I need to learn how to use it a little better. But the money flow, look at how thick the money flow is. The amount of money that's come into the market, right? When it's red, it's obviously negative, or it's just down basically. But the money flow here is just absurd.
The daily, which is sitting at around 37. And having a look at Market Cipher, if you come to the bottom right here, we have seen 2 of these waves, and this wave actually got bigger. So kind of what you're looking for is a separation of the waves coming down like this, and then a lower wave. And at that point, I would be looking for more of that move to the downside, right? But again, right now, it's kind of just what I can see to be somewhat of a healthy correction. Right here, we still haven't even touched this trend. Right? So even if Bitcoin was to fall straight down to about 37 today, we would still be putting in that uptrend that we're looking for. And we still have not ended this parabolic advance. Now, again, I was looking at the 0.5. We tried to go above it. So again, that's kind of what's telling me that even if we do have a correction at this point, the 0.618 still sits at 48,000. I still think 48,000 is possible for Bitcoin, but basically in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is we're either going to...
It'd be pretty cool if we did this. Like, this is kind of... it's kind of close, right? We had a bunch of green candles in a row, had a small pullback, 2 red candles, and then shot back up. So that's what he's hoping is going to happen here.
Have that correction now, okay? Or we're going to have a little bit of a sideways fake out. Remember, we've never really had 8 straight weeks of green. And then we may have a test up to the 0.618, where then I believe we would have that correction, And, even just having a look at these wedge patterns, you've looked in the past right here, and you could see that while forming these wedge patterns, we often do tend to revisit down to the bottom, right? Right here, we revisit down to the bottom, right? So you could say that, well, technically we've already done that. Okay, but
and again, I've explained to you guys about these too, right? So any type of indicator kind of like this, even those like EMA ribbons, if you look at them, these indicators kind of act like magnets, right? So like when you get too far out of them, they tend to come back into them, right? At some point. So like here, I would be anticipating that we were going to have a jump back up, but obviously, you have to do some more charting on top of it, but just typically you want to always know that these are going to be like a magnet. So no matter if this curves up sharply, this is going to typically meet back into the middle somehow.
If Bitcoin was to, and keep in mind, we're not going to fall straight down, right? That's not how markets work. Unless some crazy like they ban crypto tomorrow. I don't know. But for the most part, you know, you're looking at something, you know, maybe like this. Maybe we do have a little bit of downside for the next couple months leading into the ETF. You know, who knows? But again, all of this is still very constructive for Bitcoin as we continue to have all of these majors flash, right? We did stay above the 70 RSI for 3 weeks. We did have the weekly MACD crossing above, and we have had green showing on the guppy, while also coinciding with some of the lowest levels of Bitcoin on exchanges. And that's
this chart's actually pretty cool too.
Something else to consider. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you don't have a lot of crypto on exchanges, not only is it, you know, it makes the price go up faster, but it also makes the price go down faster, right?
And now this is the thing about the Bitcoin ETF, right? So there's not that many, not that much Bitcoin in the exchanges to purchase, right? Because a lot of people are self-custodying it, taking it off the exchanges. The more money, or the more, I guess, people that come into the ETF, the more crypto that BlackRock has to own in the background to more or less cover what they're giving out, the, you know, I owe you bros, with the pieces of paper when you buy the ETF through them. So they're going to have to continuously buy this up, which is the reason they're getting into these mining facilities. You know, they don't have an option. They're going to have to push these things to continuously get more virgin Bitcoin and all that stuff.
Because liquidity works in both directions. So if you don't have a lot of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin demand is high, then of course the price is going to go up faster. Also,
it's going to eventually force the price way higher.
If you don't have a lot of Bitcoin on exchanges and people want to sell, well, then they're going to be able to push the price down faster as well. But ultimately speaking, guys, we have been going up for 8 straight weeks. There is no reason to panic, and there is no reason to freak out. I mean, you know, obviously, if you want to sell a little bit now, fine, because it you know, depending on whether or not the ETF gets approved, it could be, you know, as we went up for two months. Maybe we bounce around and slowly bleed down for 2 months, right? But I still believe that the overall trajectory is up. I don't think you're getting these lows.
Right.
I don't think you're getting this 20K Bitcoin that people are calling for. I don't believe that that's the end of the cycle. I think that you may just be seeing a bit of a cool off period, right? But again, if we do get that ETF approval in January, you may see, you know, a bit of a surge into it. And then, as I've been saying, the ETF is not going to launch immediately. You're going to have, you know, maybe let's say 2 months, right? Between when the news comes out and when the actual ETF launches. And once
facts, buy the rumor, sell the news. That's kind of what he's getting at, if I'm not mistaken.
That happens, you know, people are going to be looking around like, well, what now? Well, what do? We just got to wait for 2 months. It might get a little bit boring, but then once that money starts flowing in, that's when the FOMO is going to kick in. So we are there. We're getting there. Like you know, I don't really know what part of the bull run to say we're in, but we're in a bull run. This is a bull run. This is a bull market. I don't care what anybody says, okay? But bull markets, especially with Bitcoin, have been known to have, as I showed you in the beginning of the video, these 30% drawdowns, right? And, you know, 30% drawdown from where we were, I don't know if you want to just kind of do it real quick. I'll just do this on this chart. So from the top, you know, if we were to have a 30% drawdown, that brings us to about 31,000. So that's kind of our target, 30 to 31,000 anyway, which is completely normal, and that's exactly what these type of markets do, right? But as long as you continue to put in higher highs and higher lows, there's absolutely no reason to be bearish. So that's it for me.
Again, huge shout out to Crypto Zombie. His videos are fantastic. All right, guys, let's get into the recapping of stuff. And yeah, let me see real quick. Let me fix all this. All right, we get my music back. All right, let's do it. If anybody missed anything, go back and watch the beginning. But Honey, if you guys haven't seen Honey, the Honey token is actually going freaking nuts. Let's just check if the price is still holding up over Hivemapper. If you guys are interested, I do have a link in the description below. Feel free to check it out. You get, like, I think 10% off, if I'm not mistaken. 32 cents for driving around. If you guys don't know, my man Matt Electron, he's a truck driver, right? He actually he has 2 of these units. So he has one in the front windshield of his car or his truck, and the other one like off the side window, the passenger side window. Dude, he made $1,000 in a week off of this coin. It's unreal, but it was only at 20 cents at that point. So I mean, he would have made a shit ton more if he waited. If you guys don't know what Hivemapper is, let's look real quick. Let me see if I could spell right. That'd be nice. There you go. Let me see. Explorer. No, I don't want to go to Explorer. I want to go to this. So this is it right here, right? If anybody doesn't know, the world's most rewarding dash cams, and they're not wrong. They are not wrong. I actually drove around for 2-3 days ish, just kind of like an hour a day while the kids were napping, and I want to see, I mapped like a couple new areas. I think it was 3 days. I kind of really drove around for about an hour or so. So we're going to see what my payout's going to be this Thursday. We get paid out, and it should be fantastic. Looking at the price, if the price holds up, I mean, holy hell. I'm wondering why though. Like, what is making this coin explode? There's got to be a reason. But $300, this thing is totally worth it. I mean, to me, if it pays itself back in a week, that's pretty insane. I mean, again, not financial advice. I wouldn't like FOMO into shit, but this thing has consistently been going up this entire month. Literally. Look at it. Again, 2 cents to now it's at whatever, 37. Jeez, it went up to 37 40 minutes ago. Gosh, whoever's holding their honey, man, I ain't gonna lie. Right now, get out. Sell it. Wait for the dip. If you want to buy back in, whatever, just take profits, man. Don't hold it. Don't be a moon boy. It's not worth it. Or moon girl. Let's see. It's going to $1 by February, says Caveman. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Like, nobody knows, but if it does, I'd be very upset that I sold it all at like 9 cents. Because I didn't think it was going to continue to go up. I didn't think it was going to go crazy. Nuts. Anyways, back to this Karlsen stuff. If anybody's into GPU mining, again, this has lost steam, or seems to have lost steam, at 7 cents. Now, what I was doing, I don't know if you guys saw my video on Saturday, I was mining, I still am mining Karlsen hash directly to Kaspa. And before, when this was at 25 cents or so, it was very worth it, right? So like, I'd be mining Karlsen hash, swapping out basically on unMineable for 1 Karlsen for 2 Kaspa, basically, right? So it made sense then. Now I'm kind of selling Karlsen into Kaspa, which is more, so it's really not as profitable that way, but at the same time, it's still profitable mining with my GPUs directly to Kaspa instead of using Kaspa hash or whatever the hell, you know what I mean? Like mining actual Kaspa directly. It's better to go towards Karlsen. Let's see. What about Shib? What's Shiba doing? I have 100 million Shiba and I need to dump it all. So please pump it. That would be nice. It's been sitting on Coinbase for like 3 years. Like, no joke. Shiba. Let's see. How we doing? Oh god, look at this. So like, man, I need this again. This is when I had some Shiba. I didn't have as much as I have now, but man, we need to run up. And you know what? So these dog coins, these all end up mooning just because they're easy to buy. They're cheap. When dumb money starts coming in, man, not trying to call people dumb, but that's the truth. Dumb money comes in, they buy these cheap small coins because they're cute, because they're easy, because they make money, and they've heard it from their friends, right? So that's pretty much why. Like Dogecoin, that's why Dogecoin explodes 100%. What's Doge even at? What is it, 9 cents? I can't believe it got kicked out of 10th spot. That's messed up. 9 cents, 9.6 right now. But like, look, see the let me see. We're going max. Again, this is just CoinGecko's charting, but man, this thing mooned up to 70, whatever it is, 77, 73 cents. This thing will moon again for sure. Everybody and their mother was talking about Dogecoin back in the day. So I'd be shocked if we didn't see another one, another major pump when it comes to Dogecoin. That's just my personal opinion. Avalanche is in the 10th spot now, up 11.9% to almost $40. Crazy. All right, let me see. You guys got any questions? Feel free. I missed Doge. That's why I got Shib. Yeah, makes sense. Made sense. But you know what? Honestly, it's all still low. It's all still low in price. So I wouldn't count either of them out. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? But guys, everything looks pretty good. Everything's coming back. I mean, it's just, we're going to have ups and downs. Some red days, some not so red days. But the yesterday, it was a bloodbath for sure. And it definitely gets you in the, well, that sucks kind of mood, right? But anyways, guys, I gotta get back to daddy duty. I appreciate all of you. Hopefully you guys have a happy and safe Tuesday. Enjoy your day at work. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, and I'll be dropping a video in like an hour about my KS0 Pro, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out.
This hash rate's going bonkers.
Perfect.